Give me back my brain. What's up, Dr. Mobius? I love what you did with the place. It looks exactly the same. Brain tank. Hey, what's up, Mobius?
Yo, hello there. You are there, aren't you? Forgive my confusion. So hard to tell these days. You seem familiar somehow. I'm guessing you're here for your brain, perhaps? It's just up there. Such a nice brain, young, very bright. A little hard to see you. Can you walk into my left, right FOV cone? Ah, that's it. You're coming into focus nicely.
That better?
Depth perception is a problem with this old monitor of mine. Went black a while ago. That's old age for you. Shook at getting the visual nerves reattached. Just that the right eye would see the wrong things. The flying tortoise it. What the worst. Would you care for a mentat?
Old man's giving us candy.
Mentats. Delicious and smarty. I have all sorts of amazingly science-terrific thoughts and ideas when those chalky talents are zipping through my biogel. I forget them all not long after, especially with the data constipating my memory core. Afraid binary streams might shoot out my chassis. Had to start using the dome floor and walls here to inscribe equations, although I've somewhat lost track of where they start and end.
What's up, plumber?
That implies preconceived notions, theories, and hypotheses about this meeting. Please extrapolate. What was I supposed to be like? After all, it might be worth a cognitive realignment if your theoretical Mobius is better than I.
Why'd you steal my brain? Raisins!
Oh, a variety of raisins. You're something of a homily. The anomaly? Really quite special, and not in the cranially challenged way. You see, you are the most successful brain extraction experiment ever performed here at Big Mountain. A victim of your own success, as it were. If you were to go back with what your brain knows about the procedure, well, your brain could be popped back in and you could walk right out of here. Can't have brains moving around of their own volition.
Why is that a problem? If anything, on Sunday we will.
Except that I'm sure there's a very good reason for it. I have very good reasons for almost everything I do. Even if I forget them occasionally. Although I feel this one is especially important. Oh well. Oh, curiosity. My experience.
Oh.
The ghosts aren't real? That changes everything. Why, I can save my computing power for other perceptual pop. Please be my... Oh.
Just fixed it. That would definitely be fun. So, if anything, throw yourself up on the list so we can get it on Sunday.
Well, every scientist needs an army. Mine came... How scary, I thought. But they have survived when nothing else had. Perfect candidates for improvement as a reward for their tenacity. Then I thought, what if they shot energy bolts and acted as walking arc? Then I thought about custard.
Mustard
I
custard.
do so love custard. Or was it mustard? Mustard custard. I miss sugars and salts.
Why do you keep broadcasting threats?
Oh, I was probably tripping hard on Cinco when I said that. Had to work myself up to it. Not usually violent, except when I am. Then, watch out! So many chems, such varieties. Whenever I take Mentats, I can feel my entire chassis breathe like a big spherical lung. As for the psycho, sometimes get them dispositories in my tank all switched up, go in the wrong tube. Still, serves its purpose.
Wait.
Did I? Maybe I did. Can't have them leaving. There's some reason for it. Ethics or...
All the raisins.
On science? You and your brain are quite alike. I'm sure it knows the raisins better than I do. Dr. Mobius. Rather catchy, isn't it? It's my name and my new name. Overwrote the old one. This name's as real as you or I. Although I believe your brain expressed similar. Some's been watching too many old science fiction movies, it said. I believe it meant me. I must admit I have a vulnerability for holotape fantasies of planets and robots and all that is void. Like the think tank, we were all reprogrammed to forget them.
That's crazy.
Now, trap is a rather harsh word, like excrement. Not an inappropriate word, but still rather harsh. But, yes, I did take some liberties with their programming. Yeah, all right, they don't remember. I certainly didn't till you said trap, and I said excrement, and then...
Why'd you trap them?
The raid offense to tank hemmed in wasn't really enough. They keep... I suspect I have Plan 9s in place, but I have coded myself to forget them, just in case. Probably... So I had to do something else.
Oh, makes sense. No pun intended, haha.
Figured it out. No pun intended. Dr. O, which is actually not his real name multiplied, since you can't multiply his real name in the first place. Ouroboros, Klein, they have all forgotten themselves. And not only themselves, but the world, sense of time, and history. All that is left is what's here. I reprogrammed their chronometers, geometers, and cartography programs. This is now their world, here, Big Mountain. It was a merciful lobotomy, really, thinking back. They were my friends, but sometimes they would take things too far. And the world isn't ready for the kind of too far thing taking. That's my professional opinion, anyway. And I am told I was once quite professional.
Intelligence.
Really? It is so unlike me to make an error in anything I do.
You lobotomize them, why terrorize them?
Well, it's simple. Despite their many failings, they are rather bright. They are... Without something to distract them, make them afraid, they would sit... And you came along. The final variable solved. They saw that their world...
Must have been other signs, of course.
There have been other visitors to make them doubt their perceptions. You were irrefutable proof that there was a world outside. See, your brain had a special kind of...
Cranial injury.
Yes, very good. Should have meant... In any event, you showed up at the think tank, and because bullets in the head are usually much more fatal.
Bullet headitis.
But it was enough for the auto dock in the sink to change its programming to fix the problem. And the brain extraction technology for once, that gave the think tank the knowledge its brains shouldn't, couldn't. If they obtain that procedural data, they can use it to mush and modify their cranial cells into... and... Oh no, I doubt your brain would be so unreasonable. It already knows the trick of it, you see. Doesn't need to be in a host body at all. If you become friends or exist in an uneasy truce with weapons aimed at each other, it would unlock the fence for you. Well, once the think tank was dealt with, of course, your brain is a responsible sort. Doesn't want to add scientists running around everywhere.
Going on, Beast?
I consider coincidence to be profanity, along with the words astrology, herbal tea, and luck. So watch it, potty mouth. My broadcast
No, not at the moment.
is designed to instill and install fear. And along with the emotional download, other data rides the fear carrier wave. It prompted them to focus on retrieving those technologies and bring them to attack me. And coincidentally, pardon my language, all those technologies are needed to put a brain, your brain, back into its skull properly.
Purpose of that?
The X2 antenna can be used to focus your alpha
This is
frequency
Fallout.
thought patterns. The sneaky suit, it houses a cardiac regulator. And the sonic sound wave projector emitter was never intended as a weapon. It was a medicinal vertebrate. In short, brains, a heart, and courage. He had them all the time in the store. Didn't stop them from murdering to get them. And it won't...
Any other data?
Yes, my overly aggressive... Oh. But I couldn't delete you or your arrival any more than... You're really quiet. Oh, that means my plan is a...
Curious about some stuff. Is that all I can do?
Now that seems to be... Your brain...
I need my brain back.
Do you? And does it even want to go back with you? Maybe you should tell you what, I'll leave it up to your brain if it wants. Indeed.
Another level up too.
Little chat then. Goodbye. Please mind the equations on the floor.
What else, dude? We can barter a little bit. Get our explosives, some energy up. Medicine, why not? How about that? And with that being said, create a new little save file and then hopefully get a brain achievement. I might have a few of those, but I'm not necessarily looking to trade any of those. Ravine probably will help you right here. The brain tank. That's my brain. Hey guys.
Well, well, look who finally dragged themselves in out of the wasteland. And where have we been? Bits of radioactive muck again?
Yes.
Ah, lovely. Figured that out, have we? Would you like a cookie?
Oh, he's such a dick.
That's a fine how you do. Me, quote, dick, unquote. As if I'm responsible for the way you carry on ding about the waste. I'm not the biggest clever rightness in ancient faults who'll go trotting off to new Vegas missions of ill-conceived revenge. And have we forgotten who got us shot in the head and buried in a shallow grave? Enjoy that little bit.
Of course you're responsible. You're my brain.
I most certainly am not. I'm the seat of all reason and logic in our little butlership. All those feelings that motivate you, that sense of righteousness and that rush you get when you help someone, do you know where those come from?
Lands.
They come from lands, free of the tyranny of your like and primitive endocrine system. I can see how foolish your motives are.
Unless you're arguing my thyroid's to blame.
Well, look, it's all a very complex biofeedback and other things I wouldn't expect you to understand.
Admit you're just as glandular as I am.
Oh, alright, perhaps I am, but at least I'm logical about it.
You don't want to be reunited?
I'm not going to lie to you. The prospect is definitely not that appealing. Look at it from my perspective. Here I have peace, quiet, and safety. Well, barring the odd rogue scorpion. In your head, I've got poison, radiation, injuries, and biological options. Do you know how much more you can get done when you're not constantly looking for places to urinate? Well, I tell you.
Rated biological feedback.
Rated biological feedback. Believe me, you only feel that way because you got all that meat oozing hormones.
Speech.
I suppose you're right. That does call certain assumptions into question, doesn't it?
Empath.
Indeed, quite the conundrum. Yes! After the think tank extracted me from your skull, they fell to bickering amongst themselves. Dr. Mobius saw an opportunity to gain some leverage and had me spit. I don't know. I'm afraid that I'm quite sure. Hardly. Dr. Mobius keeps a close observation.
Okay. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and save. Do we want to keep the brain, or do we want to give the brain away, guys? I know I don't think it matters for the achievement, we just gotta pick one of them. And it's hard. I don't know which one to do. I'm thinking about leaving the brain just because. Are you saying keep the brain because you didn't keep it? You get better perks if you take the brain back, you mean, by keeping it?
Definitely not radically. Look at it from my perspective. Here I have peace, quiet, and safety. Well, barring the odd root scorpion. If you want me first, showers! Second, regular. That Julie kiss woman for. First, you need to listen to me more than your hormonal fire and.
Is that what you were saying, Ravine? Survey says... You're kind of confusing me there, Ravine. Take it with me.
Right, a deal it is then. Glad? I suppose you've convinced me well enough. Unfortunately, before we get to that stage of the proceedings, we have a problem. Even if I could settle myself back in your skull and reconnect all those nerve endings, Dr. Beast doesn't have the tools here. We would have to make use of Dr. Klein's lab, and I'd rather doubt the brains are inclined to share.
Oh, it's stomping time, huh? They're not gonna put us back together?
And you believe them? Really? Once I'm delivered into their clutches, they find a way past the radar fender home on. And that, assuming, of course, that one doesn't take fancy to our body and decide to slip his own brain into it instead.
Speech!
Well, I suppose I do miss those endorphin flushes when we save the day. Alright, what's the plan? Right.
Yeah.
No doubt, I suppose now that we're reunited, you'll want to fill your torso with those meaty parts the think tank from us. Personally, I think your upgrades are quite a bit better. But now I'm with you, the 6 auto dock can plug back in no problem. Right then, off we go. Clyde will be in for a nasty shock when he realizes the pacification field won't work on his body reunited.
Nice. Make up your mind. Dun dun dun. think we're about to at least finish this little portion up. Such loud doors. Ooh, It seems like the newer upgrades were a lot better than than my old spine and heart, though. Is that what you're telling me to get, though? Open the door. Right. Time to go back to our house here. Think tank. It is worth it? Why did it make it sound like you get better effects without it? There's a new sheriff. Love that art. So cool. Back to the sink we go. Save. Alright, let's find the rest of our parts real quick. I guess we gotta talk to him, huh?
Might I be of service?
Oh wait, never mind, I remember what it was. Gotta go for the auto dock.
Very good, sir.
Auto dock?
You require some additional.
I'd like to engage your services.
Right, so I should think.
Swap out body parts. Not bad, I guess. Yeah, I want some additional services. Reattach my spine. Sweet.
You require some additional.
Yeah. Let's check out these implants. Oh, it costs this much to do it. Lame. need a lot more. That seems okay. And at least it looks like I can come back at any time. We gotta figure out a way to get more caps. Yeah, it definitely doesn't seem like a bad thing. What's up, book shoot?
Greetings, citizen.
No, I left some of those books behind. Sorry about that. Welcome back, work. Oops, I went to the wrong door. Alright, let's see if this works then. Save. Back to the think tank. What's up, computers?
The lobotomite returns. Our lobotomite. Has Dr. Mobius been denominated into scrap metal and voice module parts, as we hoped? I recommend what? No, your brain. Hand it over, or extract it again.
There's some things that we should discuss.
And what could we possibly have to speak about? You have a brain, we have an With it, we can finally leave this place. I cannot tell you how boring this place gets, chopping at the landscape and everything in it. And we have so many questions to ask your brain first. About this Mojave place. A fertile testing ground for our experiments.
Speech lie.
That is the most insane thing I've ever heard. There's no way Mobius would condescend to step inside you. Besides, there's no way such a thing could be accomplished. It's impossible.
Impossible. Science 100.
You speak the truth. And the typical variation in your voice. It is Mobius. How dare you breach think tank? And what do you want here?
That's no deal at all.
Deal at all. There's a whole world beyond the crater, filled with ideas and possibilities. We could have escaped, seen it all for ourselves, tested it, prodded at it, made it squirm. Partner with you, my foe,
Will it work?
rival, my foremost critic? I have a strange sensation that I would like that. How odd. Very well, partner. The think tank is at your service as long as you do not destroy us.
Well, that works. Later. That way I don't have to kill everybody. Is it achievement and ending time?
As it had been in the before the Great War, Big Mountain, the Big Empty, became home to one of the brightest minds of the 23rd century. The courier watched over the Big Empty for years to come, caring for it and keeping its discovery safe until they were needed to help others. Which had always been Big Mountain's purpose. Past the laboratories and science, it had always been intended as a place to build the future of all mankind.
The courier has scoured much of the Big Empty, although secrets still remained in the crater depths. Perhaps that was for the best, however. Curiosity, while sometimes rewarded for its efforts, often proves equally dangerous.
Dr. Mobius continued his research disturbed in the Forbidden Zone. As much as he had attempted to create better scorpions, he tried the same with humanity, with considerably less success. These failures didn't bother him over much. Once the rush of mentats wore off, he forgot he had failed in any event. After all, the bright young mind who had come to visit him in the Forbidden Zone had already exceeded his expectations.
The singer atop the dome bustled the voices of a small town, constantly chirping, arguing, and snarling at each other. Still, this all happened productively in the interests of its new owner. The Sync Central Intelligence Unit discovered, despite its diversion code, it was comforted by the sense of community the other personalities did.
The Biological Research Station, obsessed with seeding everything in sight, requested a transfer to the X-22 Botanical Garden, so that it might, in their own words, sensually fertilize the garden's smooth contours. The garden sent back a polite refusal, saying it had prior commitments fault it had helped infect before the war.
The Butte continued to devour all dish materials until it nearly choked on a paperclip. It adamantly maintained it was a Chinese paperclip, and the whole thing had been an elaborately orchestrated assassination attempt. Whatever the reason, it slowed down for a while, carefully appraising each document and clipboard that came to it.
The light switches continued to flicker and flicker.
This persisted until the day someone dropped a flashlight in the sink, and the two of them united in their hatred of Showboat.
The sink continued to ruthlessly scrub any particulate matter that came near it. Eventually, it gained access to the magneto-hydraulics plant and nearly flooded all the Big Empty in an attempt to scrub the crater clean. Once it learned of the innovative toxins plant, however, it gained new purpose. It sought to develop antitoxins to flush into its drains and counteract the poisons bleeding into the soil.
The toaster continued its psychotic spree, reducing all appliances in range to scrap electronics and spare parts. After one of its more psychotic episodes, however, the other Sync personalities decided enough was enough and dumped the toaster in a bathtub. Sparking and hissing, the toaster swore its enemies would rue the day when they had bread and no way to toast it.
Muggy did his best to collect coffee cups, although in his quest, he accidentally trapped himself in Higgs Village. It might have been the end for poor me. Except, he found it peaceful there, tidying up the kitchens of the think tank professors back when they had been flesh and bone. Well, except for Dr. O, who was an asshole for having created Muggy in the first place. Muggy left O's house deliberately dirty, punishing the dishes and cups that lived there in blind revenge for serving Dr. O.
Blind O just eventually discovered a new song. Silence. It only made him more filled with the blues than before. It was rumored by the other personalities that he had a brief fling with the light switches. Although he forgot their names once too often
and was soon left in the dark as punishment.
Autodoc, always gentle and methodical, kept sewing up Courier in all the right places when the skin split open from repeat wear and tear. The Autodoc was just glad to have purpose. It heard its simpler brothers and sisters who got shipped to the Sierra Madre or bored out their skulls in that toxic dead city. In time, the Autodoc found a way to deactivate the Y-17 trauma harnesses, releasing the corpses they had held prisoner for almost 200 years.
As the courier made his way through the X-8 facility, the computers analyzed the test subject movements. They eventually created new cybermonks to root out commie traitors from the wasteland. Traitors like Betsy Bright, Richie Marcus. Although they couldn't seem to find any commies, so they turned on themselves, howling sonic barks that echoed miles across the landscape.
The infiltration program Next Team continued to scan for the subject and the suit prototype long after the test was over. Frustrated and unable to find its lost technology, X-13 expanded its network of laser tripwires, sensors, and robo-brains across Big Mountain. This glittering blue light beam forest cleanly dissected anything that entered its depths, slicing them into small segmented parts for easy disposal.
The courier, organs intact, continued onwards, a little less heavy of step, but with all the organs in the right places, as they should be. After all, brains can develop a life of their own when left to their own thoughts, and the courier's brain more clever than most.
Dr. Klein, think tank, remained alive, unaware of the world outside. Looped through their daily routine, none the wiser about the beyond. Although perhaps wiser was the wrong word. The world outside belonged to Courier, and if any would shape it, well, Courier had already called dibs.
There is an expression in the East End, old world blues.
It refers to those so obsessed with the past they can't see the present, much less the future, for what it is.
They stare into what was, eyes like pilot lights, guttering and spent, as the realities of their world continue on around them.
Science is a long, steady progression into the future. What may seem a sudden event often isn't felt for years, even centuries to come.
In the times following the Second Battle of Hoover Dam, however, old world blues took on a new meaning.
Where once it was viewed as a form of sadness, nostalgia, it became an expression describing the potential for the future.
Can be easy to see science as evil, technology unchecked as the source of all ills, all misfortunes.
With the courier at the helm, science became a beacon for the future. There was old world blues, and new world hope, and hope ruled day at Big Mountain.
We could say more, but the stories in the Big Empty speak for themselves. Now armed with the transponder, the courier could return to the dome at any time and crack open the secrets of the Big Empty one by one. The snake sat vigilant, waiting for its master to return, shoes covered in Mojave dust. Only one road yet remained, and it was why the courier had to walk alone.
We did it, guys. Another one is awesome. Another DLC bites the dust. Oh, nice. You see how close to level 50 we are too? Everybody's so happy.
Yes! Yes! Soon my work will be complete. Soon the world will burn. Soon I will. What? Did? Really? Well, fuck. That really puts a dipper on the toaster's mood. Oh well. No use crying over spilled Armageddon. Where was I? Oh right. Soon the world will burn in nuclear fire! Again!
That's awesome. Nah, we won't worry about that just yet. Let's try that. Said it was one of the weapons though, right? The Big Mountain Portal Ponder. That's it, guys. We're about to get back to the wasteland. And I guess that means there's one more DLC for us to start later. Mwahaha. Boom. Let's see where it takes us. Pops us right back in the Mojave. With a gun, that's so cool. The Lonesome Road, I think that's it. That's the one with the ED, like the little robot guy. Look at our gorgeous wasteland, guys. With that being said, save. And then it seems like the internet is giving us little baby issues right now. EDE, woo! Seems like we're doing okay. Altogether, it dropped 1,000 frames out of nowhere, but... Well, with that being said though, since we finished this little first portion up, we'll go ahead and stop streaming and figure out if we're going to do anything else afterwards. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll talk to you soon.